The next level of professional acquisition training is here. Career Gateway Acquisition by Management Concepts delivers training that attendees can apply practically and immediately to their roles, that elevates their business acumen and professional judgment, and encourages teamwork and collaboration by having learners support a team in safely exploring the surface of Mars through an immersive and interactive experience that covers all 4 phases of the acquisition lifecycle, along with the essential principles they need to succeed. Career Gateway Acquisition gets new professionals up to speed through groundbreaking experiential learning and individualized coaching and mentoring. Professionals will learn, practice, and apply what they've learned to make decisions that will impact how the scenario will play out, so they'll discover the right way to approach challenges and have a robust understanding of the acquisitions landscape. Trust the company providing training solutions for 50 years to take professionals far beyond. Professional acquisition learning will never be the same.
When professionals just entering their roles in federal acquisition and contracting look at their professional landscape, what do you think they see? Challenges. Challenges that might impede their abilities to deliver for their agencies and organizations. Challenges that realistically didn't exist as little as a few short years ago. Take a look at the products, services, and technologies that the government is buying. It's a whole new world out there. There's a stringent focus on elevating efficiencies through tech and computer acquisitions that needs to be addressed. Tech and cybersecurity evolve on a daily basis, and new acquisition and contracting professionals need to know how to handle those shifts, adjust their strategies, and deliver. Within the profession, there's a need for collaboration with peers across multiple agencies that's integral for modern success in the field. No more silos, no more islands. A whole lot more communication, connection, and knowledge sharing is necessary. What's more, while we're asking these new acquisition and contracting professionals to collaborate and move swiftly to adjust their ever-changing landscape, we're also looking for professionals who can look at multiple options and pick the right solution for their agency at that time. They need sharp, critical thinking abilities and business acumen to do this. And while supervisors and managers really want to help, their ability to carve out time from their already busy schedules is limited and dominated by a need to fill the middle. The baby boomers are retiring. As people replace them at the top of the organizational structure, that leaves the middle without adequately trained and experienced professionals to pick up that level of intermediate acquisition and contracting work. Getting up to speed is more important than ever before. In order to address this growing middle gap, the path to proficiency for new professionals must be accelerated. Historically, federal agencies have turned to training to mitigate these challenges. And most training does cover certain fundamentals. Acquisition and contracting professionals new to the field can sign up for training and walk away with an academic understanding of the technology and skills they'll need. As I've illustrated, that's not nearly enough. That training does not encompass all that a modern and future acquisition and contracting professional will need. To play on an armed forces cliche, for such an extraordinarily complex professional field, they get basic training. In many ways, learning about the acquisition and contracting profession is like learning a foreign language. Language education focuses on the basics. Students will be able to pass their quizzes and tests. They may be able to string together some basic sentences and greetings. But if you drop them in that language's country of origin, those students would struggle to survive and thrive. What those language students need was training that moved past the basics. They needed immersive training that focused on application, context, and practice. The same is true for most training for acquisition and contracting professionals that are just starting their careers. They get the basics, but what they really need is application, context, and practice. To lean into the language analogy one more time, your agencies need people who are fluent in acquisition and contracting. This need for acquisition and contracting fluency is the motivation behind Management Concepts' push to rethink professional training with Career Gateway Acquisition. We surveyed the training available to professionals new to the field and found it lacking a comprehensive, holistic training program. Career Gateway Acquisition elevates both technical competencies and essential professional skills like business acumen and critical thinking, while teaching students how to rely on their peers to collaborate, to innovate, and to solve problems effectively. While acquisition and contracting professionals in the latter stages of their career do have access to cohort-based training, professionals just starting out in the field don't. And that's a critical mistake that Career Gateway Acquisition mitigates and provides benefits to both managers and new professionals. New acquisition and contracting professionals are expected to process and parse a lot of material and make critical on-the-job choices that will impact their agencies. But nobody has shown them how to do that. How to examine multiple options and choose the right one for that situation at that exact time. Managers are expecting training to provide that critical thinking, business acumen, and technical prowess, and are confused and perhaps frustrated when their new acquisition and contracting hires come out of that training without these skills. And agency leaders, who don't want to dive too far into the minutiae of agency operations, are looking for efficiency, efficacy, and better return on investment. They want their staff to get it done. For these leaders, Career Gateway Acquisition helps their new professionals get it done by making these professionals fully ready for the challenges of the job. This training accelerates their path to proficiency and enables them to make better decisions in their roles and to deliver for their agencies. For students, this adds much wanted momentum to their individual careers. For managers, this provides confidence that the task will be performed right, on time, on budget, and fully in line with the regulatory landscape and the agency's mission. And for agency leaders worried about filling that middle gap, they'll have a staff ready to move up and serve the mission. So we've talked about the why we created Career Gateway Acquisition. Let's explore how Career Gateway Acquisition works to address all of the challenges we've discussed. One of the core tenets of the program is that we encourage students to analyze situations, use critical thinking to dissect potential options, and then come up with the best possible solution. Our goal is to break through the thought paradigm of rote thinking. Career Gateway Acquisition instills the idea that there are multiple ways to resolve a challenge, and that the correct way is situational. For one scenario, choice A might be right, but for the next scenario, choice A might be a less than ideal option. Career Gateway Acquisition is designed to mirror the decision space that new acquisition and contracting professionals will encounter on the job. This means that when they're faced with a complex task requiring critical thinking to make the right choice, that they've already experienced this through the training environment we've created. They'll have the knowledge and the confidence to make these choices. How does Career Gateway Acquisition do this? Through a multifaceted approach to the training that keeps students engaged through experiential learning and a storyline threaded throughout the program. A storyline that has students help to establish a settlement on the surface of Mars. It's important to note that the Mars storyline and the experiential learning aspects of Career Gateway Acquisition aren't a gimmick. While we've developed an interesting Martian scenario here, the training program isn't merely about the scenario. and the experience, and the gamification elements. Career Gateway Acquisition leverages experiential learning to convey real skills to students. Real skills they'll develop and real skills they'll apply, all to accelerate their time to proficiency. Here's how. Students in the cohort will learn skills and then practice the application of those skills within the scenario. They'll be presented with challenges that have multiple options for a solution, like evaluating a vendor to meet ethical standards for the acquisition of technology. They'll explore these options by themselves and with other members of the cohort to find the best possible option for that specific situation, and then make their choice. This is a perfect illustration of how the use of threaded, immersive storyline mirrors the tasks that new acquisition and contracting professionals will encounter on the job, and how the program provides much-needed context to the learning and the decision-making they'll be doing in their real roles right here on Earth. Career Gateway Acquisition also uses instructors and facilitators to ensure that the concepts explored in training make a lasting impact on the students in the cohort. For each phase of the program, students engage in structured coaching with their facilitator, completely individualized sessions based on where the student is in their development. Facilitators also host weekly office hours, where students will ask questions and facilitators will provide thoughtful feedback on both individual and group assignments. That student support structure extends to the format. We chose cohort-based learning for Career Gateway Acquisition to answer a key challenge in the acquisition space: peer connection and collaboration. Students will need to work together with other members of their cohort to solve problems and to overcome challenges. This promotes the understanding that in acquisition and contracting, collaboration with peers is essential. We expect the relationships developed in the cohort will become strong, indispensable professional relationships that students will rely on throughout their careers. When you put all the pieces together, the result is a 360-degree approach to acquisition and contracting training. This immersive, experiential scenario employed in Career Gateway Acquisition follows the entire life cycle of a contract, broken down into 4 distinct phases. Inside those phases are episodic events tied to the scenario, where students will have to make choices based on the concepts that they have learned. Whether individually or with other members of the cohort, students will have to formulate the best possible decision for that episodic event. Then, they'll get feedback from their facilitator on the choices they made. So while the Martian scenario may lend itself to phrases like "out of this world," what truly takes Career Gateway Acquisition to that level is how expertly complete the training program is. Whether relieving agencies from some of the on-the-job training that they've expected to accomplish, or in developing critical thinking skills so that students will make better decisions on the job themselves, Career Gateway Acquisition represents something unique, a first of its kind. It's an expert solution to the challenges that agencies, managers, and acquisition and contracting professionals face. Mars may be the dessert that keeps students in the cohort engaged, but it's the balanced, comprehensive, and practical applicable components of the training that truly make Career Gateway Acquisition a meal.